John here, and back with another Keanu-thon review, and today talking about and reviewing Henry's Crime, 2010 film. And I had heard about this film, its title. I was able to catch it on YouTube, so it is available on YouTube. And it's a comedy crime flick, caper. Interesting cast. You know, you have Keanu Reeves in the film, James Caan, Judy Greer. You also have Bill Duke, Fisher Stevens. So you have an interesting cast, but the film itself, it just wasn't funny. Like, I didn't find a whole lot of laughs in the film, and it's supposed to be a comedy crime, and I know some people might say, well, it's deadpan. Well, it's so deadpan, it's dull pan, that I'd rather get whacked in the head by a pan and would actually wake me up. Because there's times in the film where I just got bored and I tuned out. And, okay, the story here is you have Keanu Reeves in the film. He's our main character. Henry, you know, he's a toll collector in New York, and he has no dreams or ambitions. His girlfriend is played by Judy Greer, and you get the idea that, you know, he's been in some trouble before, and his buddy, who's played by Fisher Stevens, and soon enough, you know, they rob this bank. You have Bill Duke as his police officer, and Keanu, you know, while they're robbing the bank, you know, Keanu's waiting outside in the car, and he gets arrested and sent to prison, and that's where he meets James Caan, his character, and they start a bond in prison, and soon enough, Keanu gets out, released, and then sometime later, you know, James Caan, his character, gets released from prison, and when they reunite, they hatch this, plan to rob the bank, the same bank where Keanu gets arrested, to go back to that bank and rob it, you know, with the help of James Caan. So throughout the film, you know, they're trying to form, again, this plan, this caper to rob this bank. And then meanwhile, you have like this theater that's attached to this bank. So, you know, they go into this theater and they find this back room where, you know, it leads to the bank, like this tunnel of sorts. So you have a couple of scenes where, and also you have this actress who I've seen before, Vera Farmiga. Yeah, she was an orphan, also in the Departed. I recognize her. Yeah, she's in the film, and she's this actress, you know, as part of this theater play. And the director is played by Peter Stormare, who was in Constantine. He was Satan. He would be in John Wick Chapter 2. You know, see, he's this director of this play. Again, this theater play, which, you know, in this theater, this back room, you know, Keanu and James Caan, they're tearing apart this room so they can get to the bank. And because it's attached to the bank. And that's kind of it. I mean, you know, again, it's a caper movie. And then later on, Fisher Stevens, this character, comes back into the fold. You know, he wants to get rid of James Caan, that, hey, I've known, you know, Keanu much longer than you have. So they sort of bring him along, and as you can guess, you know, Fisher Stevens gets greedy, and then by the end of the film, he tries to shoot, you know, this one stupid scene where, you know, this one guy bites Fisher Stevens' hand, and he fires his gun and shoots Keanu in the leg because, you know, again, Fisher Stevens' character gets greedy. You know, he wants all the money, and you know, that's kind of the plot pretty much. But again, it's just, I don't know, this film wasn't for me. Again, there was no laughs in the film. You know, Keanu Reeves, I don't know what was up with Keanu in this movie. You know, for the most part, he's just sleepwalking. I mean, Keanu in the film, like throughout, his expressions are sort of just really blank expressions. I mean, I'm like, what are you doing, Keanu? Like, why are you sleepwalking, through this film? Why did you do this movie? Again, it's like he's giving off these blank expressions, throughout the film and just looking very deadpan, dead in the face and no emotion. Again, sleepwalking. You have James Caan, his character in the film, who again is a who you get the idea he's a con artist pretty much. And James Caan's fine. He's fine in the film. Big fan of James Caan. I mean, of course, in the Godfather films, he was the bad guy in Eraser. Great action movie. Judy Greer, she's in the film for a little bit. Bill Duke, it was nice to see Bill Duke in here. Fisher Stevens from Hackers and Short Circuit 2. Again, he's a buddy of Keanu. And Fisher Stevens is kind of wasted here. It's like there's not too much to his character, and he shows up a little bit in the beginning and then a little bit in the end. So he's not in the film much. And really, you can say Bill Duke is not in the film much, but it's mostly, Keanu and James Caan, forming this plan, coming up with this caper. But a lot of the film, again, to me, is just, it got boring at points, and I tuned out, and I shouldn't. It's like, for me, okay, like some of the stuff where, when Keanu goes to prison and he meets James Caan, I'm like, that stuff was more interesting than the rest of the film. Like, why couldn't this film just be like like a prison comedy? Maybe something like Stir Crazy or something like that. Like, a prison comedy type of film with Keanu and James Caan. Have Keanu be the new inmate and James Caan is this older, whacked out, inmate that's been there forever, and they come up with a plan to escape from prison or something. Again, something like Stir Crazy, but with, Keanu and James Caan. Again, when they meet in prison, there's a couple of interesting scenes there. I'm not going to say the chemistry is bad between the two, but to me the script didn't help. And direction, I looked up this guy and other stuff he's directed I never heard of, and it seems like he didn't really go on to direct much afterward. And I'm looking at some of the reviews for IMDb and how, they say this film is clever and witty and it's great. And I'm like, I don't see it. I mean, what's so clever? What's so witty? Okay, it's a comedy crime caper flick, but where's the comedy? Because the comedy seems non-existent in this film. It's like, are we supposed to laugh at Keanu for being so deadpan and, showing no emotion? It seems like he's sleepwalking in this film. I mean, what was fun? And then, which I forgot about, but, you have some scenes towards the end of the film where they're in this back room of this theater, trying to get access to the bank, pretty much. And, Keanu's trying to buy them some time by being in this play. And he has like a fake beard. And he's saying weird dialogue. And I'm like, I don't know, it just seems like those scenes, I'm like, what was the purpose? Why do you have Keanu wear this fake beard saying weird lines? And, even before that, with that actress, I keep forgetting her name. Vera Farmiga. You have this one scene where she's in this play, or they're doing rehearsal, and she's getting chewed out by Peter Stormare, and Peter Stormare's like, "Where's your risk?" And she's like, "I don't know, in your ass?" I'm like, what was funny about that? It wasn't funny. I'm like, am I supposed to laugh? What kind of what kind of response is that? I don't know. In your ass? I mean, I don't know. It's just I don't get what's funny about this movie. It's like it should be a again, just have it be like a prison movie with Keanu and James Caan comedy type of movie. I don't see what's clever, what's witty. I don't see it. Keanu sleepwalking, James Caan's not bad, but not given much to do. Bill Duke is not in the film much. Fisher Stevens is not in the film much. You know, it's a boring caper. That's what it is. It's a sleeping pill. This film is a sleeping pill for me. Uh, but that's my review of Henry's Crime. So if people disagree with this review, that's fine. If you like the film, that's fine. But I'm like, why does Keanu? Why does it look like he's sleepwalking through this movie? It's like you can tell that he didn't want to do this film. But this was a weird time for Keanu because, between the Day the Earth Stood Still remake, and it's like from 2008 to like 2013, 14, it's just a weird era of Keanu because, doing films like this, it's like, why did he do this film? And which, of course, next I'll talk about The Man of Tai Chi. But, yeah, that's my review of Henry's Crime. To me, just a forgettable, unfunny movie. If you disagree, that's fine, but I didn't see what's so great about this movie. But anyways, that's my review of this film. Next up, talking about and reviewing The Man of Tai Chi. The Man of Tai Chi, excuse me. But thank you for watching, and have a good one.